And it's just making me more jealous, James. Guys, I'm out of here. I'm going to Cabo. I'm going to Cancun. Thank you for being here and joining us for the CTE Teach End of Year Program Advisory, May 2023. We're going to talk about logs and the invoicing process, kind of review 22-23, and even talk about 23-24. So it's kind of a sit back, relax, kind of enjoy what you've done this year and reflect back on what you've done this year. James, if you want to go ahead to the next slide. James has just put a link to the presentation in the chat. It is also down here on the bottom of the screen, and we'll put that in the chat multiple times through the presentation today. Also, there is a QR code to the right of it. So if you want to take a picture of that, that'll give you a link to the presentation as well, too. Just the normal norms, and just mute Mike if you're not speaking. Utilize the chat feature, and myself and James and Megan, all four of us will be moderating that. And if you are on camera, we appreciate that, but just be mindful of your surroundings and any of your backgrounds as well, too. James, next slide. And like I said, all four of us are along, or three of us are here right now, and Melissa will be along shortly. James, next slide. And I'm going to mix things up a little bit. Megan has another meeting to get to, so I wanted to start with her, and she's going to talk about the invoicing part of CTE Teach, and that's really important for any of the administrators who are on the line. Megan, go ahead.
Thank you, David. James, if you want to go, there we go. He's already ahead of it. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about a little bit about the invoicing and stipend process for our end of the year. So on the left-hand side, you'll kind of see a little bit of our invoicing process there in picture form. And then just to the right, we have everything written out as well. So the first step would be the mentor activity logs, which you guys are already familiar with. So submitting mentor activity logs to CTE Teach in the Google Drive. We do have a date on there by June 15th, 2023. And I think David has a little plug. He wants to give you guys an update on that.
Yeah, so we're putting on here June 15th. You can go a little later, but you can't have any dates on the invoice, or there can't be any dates that once the invoice is written. So as soon as the invoice is written, we can't have any dates. So if there's things maybe you're planning June 15th to June 30th, maybe you back them up and just have them dated by June 15th. So once that invoice is requested, we can't have any dates on the logs after that. But if there's any individual questions about that, feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email or text, anything like that.
Thank you, David. So the second part is the mentor activity log approval. So once you have submitted your mentor activity logs into the CTE Teach Google Drive, what we'll be doing on our end is that we'll be reviewing those mentor activity logs. And if they are approved, the next step will be that I will construct a program statement and send that to the LEA administrator via Adobe Sign. So that will be sent over. And again, I will construct the program statement and send that over to you guys. The next step is that the LEA administrator will be signing that and invoicing us. So once I have completed the program statement, sent it over to the LEA administrator, the LEA administrator will then sign that program statement. I'll get an information back, an email back saying that they did sign it. And then they'll use that program statement to then invoice us. And the invoices can be sent to CTE Teach or to my email address, which is there. And for the invoicing process, CTE Teach process for the invoice is that we'll send the payment to the LEA. So again, we aren't going to be sending it directly to the mentor. The payment will be sent directly to the LEA that we have the signed contract with, the MOU. And just a little statement down there is estimated processing time once we have received your invoice is about 3 to 4 business weeks for that. And so if you can continue on to the next slide for me, James. And so here we just have an example of an invoice that we got from our friends down at Sesame Street on the right-hand side, as well as on the left-hand side, we have kind of the breakdown of how an invoice should look. So step one is creating the invoice and having that billed to the Colton Redlands Yucaipa ROP attention CTE Teach. So again, we do work with Colton Redlands Yucaipa ROP, but we are contracted under the CTE Teach grant. So you'll have attention CTE Teach on there, and then there's our address and all that information. For the next one is invoice equals the mentor hours. So each mentor will report hours at the rate of $50 per service hour, not to exceed the allotted amount on your LEA MOU. So on the MOU that was signed in the beginning of the school year by your LEA, you are allotted $50, a rate of $50 per service hour up to 150 hours. So if you look on the right-hand side here, we have the description, which is the 22-23 CTE Teach Mentor. For example, this one is for Cookie Monster, who did hours in quarters 1 through 4 at $50 a rate per service hour. They did 150 hours, so they'll be billing us for $7,500 for this particular individual. For step number 3, again, email any invoices to the program support specialist, which is me, Megan, and there's my email again for you guys. And then the invoice submission date, the deadline for those, they all need to be submitted by June 30th, 2023. And just a little heads up, some things that I've occurred throughout the years in regards to the invoicing process is that sometimes the LEAs will have everything all combined together. So they'll have, say, 3 mentors all on one line in their invoice, and they're invoicing us for $22,500. We do like to have those separated because when we're looking at the mentor logs or the program statement, everything will be separated as well. So you'll see here in the example to the right-hand side, we have broken up 3 different lines for 3 different mentors for Cookie Monster, Oscar the Grouch, and Count Von Count, you know, all broken up separately each line. So we're able to see clearly who did what, how many hours, and so on and so forth. So that is it for invoices and stipend processing. If you have any questions, you can always put them in the chat, or you can email me, call us. My information will be presented again at the end of the PowerPoint.
Megan, I'll just jump in with a couple things.
Yeah.
Mentors, your important thing is the activity log, because off of the activity log, Megan can generate. I looked over at Megan's desk. Go ahead, Megan.
Oh, the program statement.
Yeah. Off of your mentor logs, Megan can generate the program statement, and the program statement we will then send. And then your LEA, your district, sends us the invoice. Your business departments are used to doing this. This is the language they speak, not exactly the language I speak, but they are used to invoicing other LEAs, other institutions, so they are very familiar with that. Another thing, good thing we did in the beginning of the year, all the administrators gave us the contacts of the business department, or who is the lead in business in your districts or your LEA or your site, so that we have their contact information and keep getting in contact with them in case we need to.
Thank you, David. Doesn't look like I have any questions. So yep, we'll continue on. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Megan. Yeah, I have included this slide just in case you're looking, and I know you've seen this the past 2 months, but I'm including this again just in case you're looking for some ideas for things to go in your mentor logs. Any hours spent helping your mentees can be on those logs. And then, James, next slide as well, too. Just as a reminder, you can log up to 150 hours per mentor for the school year. You can still add things to the second quarter and third quarter. That is still fine with us as well, too. And then if you can have those in by June 15th, we put that on a Thursday. That way, if we need to get a hold of you on a Friday or anything like that, or the following 2 weeks, we still can. And I will say that I've already gotten some of them in, and some are on Melissa's desk for us to review as well, too. So already going well. With that in mind, we kind of did this a little bit out of order. I need to know, especially from the mentors, when is your last day with students? But I really need to know, when's your last work day? When are you leaving for the beach? And any plans for the summer? So especially mentors, if you could put that in the chat box right now. I'll give a minute here. Greg is done mid-June. Orange County is mid-June. I had a lot of those this morning, Greg. June 9th and later. But I know there was someone this morning who's done already this week. I think she's out on Thursday. Courtney's is the 16th as well too. Glendale 6-7 last day for teachers 6-8. Yep, Janet, Central California, mid-June. Anyone out this week? Even show of hands? Or if you want to unmute and chat. Patrick, my wife has a project list as long as the winding road. Understand, I have that list for myself as well. Dwayne's got June 1st graduation. Compton, June 9th. And then Robin's niece is coming. Glendale, June 8th. Carol, here we go, May 25th. Carol, there are people who want to go with you right now. Greg, summer school, because the grind never ends, totally. Maria, May 31. Yes, what's the teacher's idea of time off? Working. Yeah, so mentors, if you would continue putting those in the chat, I'd appreciate it. And we'll create a little something here so we know when you'll all be taking off.
Yeah, any upcoming trips, anything fun coming up?
Beatrice is June 8th. James, go ahead to the next slide. So wanted to take some time and remind you of everything you've accomplished already in 22-23 with your mentees. I think it's good to take a little look back, a little down memory lanes. So James, next slide. This will remind you of the webinars we've presented this year, and it goes all the way back to November when we had orientation on November 1st. I don't know how it's May. I don't know how it's May 23rd already. I really don't. But what we did is we gave you the links again to all those presentations, and you'll be able to find these in our CTE Teach website. And then just even a little highlight of what we covered in the month. So in case you're looking for something for mentees, if you're looking for something for yourself, you just want to refer back to something, this will be available. You see, in February 2023, that's when we presented at Educating for Careers, and Melissa also did this same presentation, similar presentation at the Fall CTE conference last November. So I don't have that slotted in there, but that was presented a couple times. James, next slide. So in the last couple of weeks, you've been filling out the mentor survey to give us some feedback on what we've done and how we perhaps could help, and just wanted to review some of those things. So we asked you, how effective do you feel CTE Teach assisted with increasing teacher retention? And you'll see that there's been 4s and 3s on that. How effective do you feel CTE Teach assisted you and your LEA with advancing student learning? And there's been 4s and 3s there as well too. Nice to see. James, next slide. Was participating in or watching the CTE Teach monthly webinars effective? 4s, 3, and a little bit of 2 there. How effective do you feel CTE Teach assisted with increasing teacher professional development and effectiveness? 4s and 3, and these were all on a 1 through 4 scale, 1 being the lowest, 4 being the highest. And it's good to see there about the professional development, because this has all been professional development and developing those skills as mentors and developing the skills of your mentees. Next slide, James. And then this is interesting for us and good information to get. As part of training and development, which of the following CTE Teach online modules did you utilize? And you see that early orientation and the mentor modules, which we had you complete, are by far and away the 2 top vote getters here. This is important for us to see because there's also other credentialing authorities that utilize the early orientation modules for their teachers when they start CTE credentialing. So kind of expected information, but good information to get. Where we get a little bit more information is in some of your short answer questions. And there were about 6 of them that we'll share with you here. How are you currently using CTE Teach resources to support new CTE teachers in your LEA? And as we go through these, you're going to see common threads and shared support, which is nice to hear and see and verifying. Workshops on the right-hand side there, workshops on effective teaching methods, creation and implementation of assessments, conducting checks for understanding and effective lesson planning. The next one, Canvas, though I've used it, the extensive information given has, though I have used it, the extensive information given has been helpful. The modules have been great, as well as the way to support and expand CTE programs. So that's nice to hear. Next slide, James. How can CTE Teach better assist with professional development to enhance effectiveness of new CTE teachers? I like on the left-hand side, pull what other districts are offering and create resources that we can pull from the other districts, because isn't that shared journey, that shared experience important for all of us? The next one, track new teachers' needs, major areas for growth, so that mentors can help provide support, for sure. On the right-hand side, keep showing us new technology and keep updating the modules. I like that you've caught on to that. I know that was always important to me when I was a new teacher and going to new teacher training in our induction program. I soaked up all those little bits, and that's what we wanted to do, is we wanted to show you new things like Mentimeter, Poll EV, the AI generation that's going on now as well too. I think we could have done a little more on TSOs, career technical student organizations, but comment here that the ways to integrate them into an already busy program. James, next slide. What challenges have you experienced as a CTE mentor? Anyone see their quote here? Want to share anything about it? Because I think you'll see consistent themes here. Keep looking and reviewing there. But teacher retention has definitely been a challenge. Scheduling conflicts. Mentees having so much on their plate, just overwhelmed. And I think we feel that definitely post-COVID, especially this year. But good things that you mentioned here. A mentee that does not engage, difficult to bring them to the table, for sure. But on the flip side, on the right-hand side, I might be thinking another slide. But on the right-hand side, finding the time through my teaching schedule, the very last one, can't be everywhere I want to be as often as I want to be. I totally understand that and empathize. James, next slide. Give yourselves a round of applause here. What was your proudest moment as a CTE mentor? Good stuff here. The first one, the smile light bulb as the mentee understood something they thought was challenging. This next one, looking back at the mentor logs to see all that I accomplished with teachers over the course of the year. When one of my CTE teachers told me they really appreciated all my help. Hearing how proud the students were in themselves and watching the CTE teacher beam with pride. Next one, that we have a new teacher this year who jumped in with both feet with mastery-based grading. And I especially like the next one. My proudest moment as a CTE mentor was connecting with teachers and having the opportunity to share expertise or connect teachers with resources. Right-hand column, helping my candidates meet each other online when I could, adding an open Zoom so they could come work together and getting them through the paperwork jungle. Very well said. Hearing the students are having fun in their CTE classes. Next one, how valuable the new teachers reported that the workshops were. Next one, this is an awe moment. When a new teacher tells me that without my support, that they would not want to continue as a teacher. And that's a relationship that you've built and can continue to support and continue to nurture and grow. And that's what I like about that. Next one, when my mentee actually asked for my help and then followed my example. That's always good. And finally, just really being available for teachers to speak and vent to when they are experiencing their own teaching challenges. And I should add, these are just some of the comments that we've gotten. There's been more for all of these slides, and we just curated some for the slides, but there's more stuff out there as well too. Like I said, I think you should be very proud of all the work you've done. And you see that in these quotes here. Couple more slides here, James. Next one. Couple more slides for me. What would you share with others about your mentoring experience? Second one on the left-hand side there, you really need to give your teachers a lot of kudos and have daily contacts. If it's a phone call, an email, a text, just those points of contact. Next one, big or small, your contribution to the individual teachers and their success is paramount. Absolutely. Next one, I feel blessed to be part of a future teacher's journey. It can be a positive experience where you can share your knowledge and experience with others and offer guidance and support in helping new teachers thrive. This next one talks about new teachers and even veteran teachers. Quote, a lot of the resources created not only helped our new CTE teachers, but have served as refreshers for our more experienced teachers. So we kind of never stop learning, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing to keep in mind. Right-hand side, oh, that's okay. I appreciate the opportunity to collaborate and work with my colleagues. Too often we are on an island on our respective campuses, so this is a great program to help teachers know that they are not alone and that support is available to help them make the heavy lifting not as difficult. Totally agree. Couple more down. Put in the time with your teachers and listen to what they need from you, not just what you need from them. And James, next slide. One more, James. Oh, I'm off by one. Is there any other information the CTE Teach team should consider to better understand the impact of CTE Teach in your LEA? On the right-hand side, have the LEA share the CTE Teach information with teachers who didn't have CTE Teach when they started. Next one, it's been a great help. I feel our new CTE teachers are much better connected and feel like they have support. And that support that you've generated, you will be there for that support for them in the future as well, too. Couple more down. CTE Teach is allowing us to more fully support and retain our new teachers. That's good news because that's tough in this climate. So again, round of applause, pat yourselves on the back, think about all that great work done, and I just appreciate everything you all have done. We do have some changes for 23 and 24. I'm gonna let Melissa talk about that and turn it over to her.
Thank you, David. Good afternoon, everyone. So nice to see you here as we wrap up our 22-23 school year. So a little bit of news for the field. We emailed administrators last Thursday, so not sure if everyone has been able to communicate with their administrators since that news. So my apologies if I am the first to break this news to you, but we are indeed sad ourselves here at CTE Teach that our mentor project piece of our state contract is coming to an end this school year. So effective June 30th and moving forward, we will no longer be providing the mentor support hours to LEAs. In conversations with the state, looking at priorities that they have with their limited funding to do the state project types of work. It was a factor, one of those big things that they have to put some focus on in the next few years, which may be opportunities for a lot of us to participate in, is the redoing of the CTE standards. Those, for those of you that have been around a long time, like I have, it's been about 12 years since anyone has looked at the state standards, and revised and refreshed those. So that's going to be a state CTE division priority in the next couple of years. So some funding has to be diverted to that. And then unfortunately, and we can blame COVID for just one more thing, I think that in education or the world, in that in the past, not necessarily this year as much, but in the previous 2 years or so, it has been a struggle for us here at CTE Teach to get our LEAs to, number one, participate. So we haven't had full participation in the last few years. But more importantly, the districts that have, not everyone, but too many, have left money on the table and have not expended all of their mentorship hours. And we know that's for lots of reasons out of our control, out of your control, right? COVID just ruined lots of things for folks, including diverting time away from mentorship and the classroom time with teachers that we want to have because there were other priorities at the time. Unfortunately, when you run state programs and you look at money being spent and it becomes a use it or lose it model. So after giving us some grace for a few years looking at that, it just came to where can money be found to focus on some other priorities. So unfortunately, that is the piece. Over half of the funding we've received now for the last 14 years has gone directly back to districts for that piece to help support new teachers in the classroom directly, and for LEAs to create their own mentorship, or as we call it here at CRY-ROP, our TIP or teacher induction program. Every year for 14 years, it's been a question for us towards the end of every year with whether there's going to be money at the state level. So we feel very fortunate that we were able to have the program for this long. That's one of the reasons why we always do what we used to call our sustainability report or program impact reports or these surveys, is to really get folks to think about what they've done and how they could do this in ways when different funding sources may not be available. So hoping you all will be able to continue this great work without those dollars, because you will still have us. Where CTE Teach isn't going anywhere. You can see on the slide here where there are no changes and what some of those other changes look like. So I'm going to review those really quickly with you. So all of our resources on cteteach.com, including the recordings from webinars, all of our CTE Teach modules, so the early orientation, the mentor module to train your future mentor army, all those great professional development modules will still be there and accessible through cteteach.com and the Canvas learning management system. So those are all there for you and our credential programs. We fought hard to ensure that those stayed. So we will still have funding for all that to stay. The whole team here at CTE Teach, so me, David, James, and Megan will all still be with you next year as well. So we will be here in support. So questions and things, or if you want, hey, where's that copy of that one presentation that you showed us 2 years ago, and all that stuff, we can still provide for you. Absolutely. We're still in here in support. So that is still all happening there. We will still be sharing resources and great works through our social media on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We will still be at our normal conferences next year, including the Fall CTE Conference and Educating for Careers, doing presentations in support of, building up that high quality CTE teacher workforce. The changes, and like I said, the big one is there's no longer funding for us to give to your districts or counties or school sites for the funding for mentorship. Our focus is going to be helping the state tackles those teacher pipeline issues. So we saw that on some of the previous slides about what were the concerns or your pain points. And that was pretty clear from you guys in the field, our little field, but also the large field that the state is looking at, that not just CTE, but all teachers, there's some pipeline issues and it doesn't look any rosier down the road. So we are going to be working on behalf of CDE, doing a lot of surveying out in the field and talking to district folks and county folks and ROP folks about where the concerns are. Is it industry specific concerns? And then what can we do as a collective to help fill in the gaps on that pipeline, and what does good recruitment, and then retention, which we know we've got a lot of that retention piece down with our great resources and things. So as many things do in education and life, there, that circle of life we could end up definitely seeing here in 5 years from now where, gosh, we got all these teachers, now we got to train them again. And you could see us right back to where we have been for the last 14 years. I'm always optimistic about that because that seems to be, kind of the trend in education. But for now, like I said, all of our stuff is going to be available to you. We will still be out and about. There will be one new module that you'll see in the fall. We are calling it right now CTE Admin 101, recognizing that some of you may be looking for some changes and some leadership if you aren't already in that role. We also have seen throughout the state that a lot of folks move from, AP at a middle school to CTE coordinator at a district level. And there's a lot that makes CTE different, especially when it comes to funding streams and things. So we are putting together a little module about that that'll be available as part of our repertoire. There will also, with the help of our industry sector mentors, and we've got some in the room with us today, they've been putting together, we're calling them kind of mini toolkits for you all to use in the field to share with teachers. So there'll be resources by industry sector, and we'll be focusing on the biggest, most popular industry sectors, we'll call them, such as healthcare and AME and ones like transportation and such. So there'll be a whole host of little kind of industry toolkits available through our website as well in the fall. We will also be hosting at least 4 webinars throughout the year that'll focus on some of these new priorities, but also good mentorship and supporting teachers. So when all of those things are happening, we will definitely send out invites. You are all on our listserv for life. So we will definitely share those opportunities with you. We will also be doing some sort of little newsletter a couple times throughout the year to kind of keep everyone abreast of what's been happening with CTE Teach, where we're at, and the things we've been learning as we're supporting the state in these new ways. And at the fall CTE conference, you guys will be getting invitations to join us for a pipeline focus group, where we're going to host a dinner the Wednesday before the fall CTE conference starts. It'll follow the CRY-ROP meeting, those of you that attend that. And we will kind of pick everyone's brains about what are again, kind of that survey questions that I was talking about, but actually getting some qualitative data and hearing, straight from the horse's mouths about, what that shortage looks like from the individual LEA situation and how we can work together to improve that. And with all that great market research and data we're collecting next year, we will then provide resources and things to share out again through the state and through our website about recruitment tools and some best practices and things for both recruiting now and retaining CTE teachers. So that's what'll be happening. We're so sorry that we can't continue to offer that funding. As someone, I know I've been a part of CTE Teach indirectly for the whole time as a teacher and then as an administrator. But in the just being part of directly in CTE Teach for, gosh, the last 6-7 years, it breaks our hearts that we don't get to work with you guys on a regular basis and provide that extra layer of funding that we know is always precious in CTE. So we're going to miss that piece of it in that direct kind of monthly, weekly collaboration and things with you. But please know we're here. Again, the team's not going anywhere. We're here. Reach out to us if you want to come see what we do here with our own mentors and our teachers. If you need resources and things, we're definitely always here for you. And I see there's been some questions, guys.
Yeah, one of them is, will the logs now go directly to the LEA?
And Patrick, are you talking about this year's mentor activity logs?
No. For the next school year.
So there will be no logs. There's no funding for that, so we will not have the mentor piece next year.
Okay, makes sense.
It'll just be however, and your organization is more than welcome. Like with our own mentors, we use our same log. So again, in education, like beg, borrow, steal. So if your LEA wants to use the log we've used and modified in any way, please do so, because it's definitely good to have we actually use the CTE Teach rate for our mentors, recognizing that they deserve more than kind of a non-teaching rate for being a mentor. So we use that $50 an hour to pay our own here at CRY-ROP, and we do use the CTE Teach log for them to track their hours. So we definitely suggest you maintain the models that you've learned here with us and rinse and repeat for sure.
Thank you. Valley ROP has a similar timesheet, so doing the log was kind of a duplicate, but it was fine.
Yeah, use whatever works best for your organization.
Okay, thanks.
I did see also that somebody asked about the fall CTE conference. That's out in Rancho Mirage. And there's, if you go to CTE conference, I think it's .com, you'll find information. I think they're already starting to accept calls for presenters, and you definitely want to book the hotel rooms and stuff as soon as you can, as soon as they're open, because it does, last year it sold out. Any other questions that I've...
Well,
So we
and
have-
Chris,
Yeah,
a
go ahead.
good point from Christine. You can proposition your districts to fund CTE mentorship. They usually already have the induction program for all of their teachers.
Mhm. Yeah, and fight hard for those of you that are in, comprehensive districts and aren't part of an ROP or a county that might have direct kind of, CTE resources. Definitely work with your district to have CTE mentors for the CTE teachers, so they don't just get lumped in with the academic teachers, because there are so many differences. So if at all possible, definitely, throw your hat in the ring, lobby those folks that it is important to have a CTE mentor for CTE teachers. Absolutely. And might be a good strong workforce project for folks too coming up. If you can think about how to incorporate teacher training or new teacher support as far as using CTIG funds or future strong workforce projects, that's something to think about as well.
And Melissa, I will echo your sentiments that we are here. Numbers don't change. Emails don't change. Like Melissa said, we've got your name on listserv as well too. So we will be letting you know what we're working on and up to, and looking for the feedback and the input as well too. So you're not getting out of here easy. James, I see you prepped. Go for it.
So keep in touch. One way is through our social media. I'll still be keeping track of social media. I'll be adding our Mentor Monday quotes, any resources that come my way, any other valuable CTE information. I'll definitely be posting up on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook pages. The YouTube page will have access to all our old videos and podcasts, including our Spotify podcasts and Apple Play or Apple podcasts as well, and as well as SoundCloud. So if you forget about all this stuff, just go to ctteach.com. There's a section for the media, and you'll be able to find all our social media pages and other resources there. And I will definitely be continuing the updates on the CTE Teach website, and with resources, especially with the industry sector mentor, basically resources for specifically through industry sectors. And so as that's coming along, if there's anything you want to see, anything you want to share with us, just reach out to us and we'll put that up. And with that in mind, I missed everyone on the last meeting. I was on jury duty, so I missed May the 4th, Star Wars Day. So my Mentor Monday for the end of the school year, I'm going to share what Master Yoda said, and hopefully the sound will start. Let me know, David, if the sound, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if you don't hear the sound. Here we go.
Pass on what you have learned. Strength, mastery, but weakness, folly, failure also. Yes, failure most of all. The greatest teacher failure is.
So I went ahead and had Master Yoda himself speak to us, but in reality, I cheated. So we've been talking about AI, ChatGPT, all that good stuff. Well, I found a site that might be interesting for either your students or presentations that you might be doing. And I'm going to put the link up on here. It's a text-to-speech AI, and you can, it's called UberDuck AI. And basically with UberDuck, you can go ahead and find certain cartoon characters, movie actors, TV show actors, Star Wars characters, and you could type in your text and it will create that voice for you. And then you just go ahead and save that audio and put it where you want to. They only ask that you don't use it for commercial purposes, but for students and for your class, I think it might be awesome. So uberduck.ai. Now it does cost money. However, there is a free version that allows you to save up to 5 or 6 audio that you put together from the characters. And then you can go ahead and use that to your heart's extent. And it's not a bad deal for free. You don't even have to pay for it. So something to play around with. It's not 100% perfect depending on what you're doing. So one thing that I learned as you're using UberDuck, anything with a comma, you might want to put a period in order to slow down the voice. And then this way you can try to get it perfect. So you can always play around with that. But I did Yoda and it sounded pretty decent to me. So something to play around with UberDuck. So check it out. If you have any questions about things like the techie stuff or the chat, GPT, or anything AI related, or if you just want to talk about Star Wars, reach out to me and I'll have some resources for you. And with that in mind, last call for the school year. Any questions? Ron Swanson's looking at you. So this is your last chance.
James, would you stop the share?
Yes, I will.
And will you share?
By the way, here's all our contact info, and it'll also up on our website on CTE Teach in case you guys forget.
Will you share the newest Zoom update as well too?
Yes. So if you have updated your Zoom accounts, you would notice that there's custom avatars. If you haven't played around with that yet, you can choose one that they create, or you can have one right here. It's uncanny, the resemblance. And you can move your head, you can talk, and it'll pretty much do your thing. So it's something to play around with. Of course, you just have to update your Zoom account. And then once you do that, you would go into, on the bottom left, if you're signed in, where it says stop video, there's a little arrow, and it would say choose avatar. You can create your own avatar, or just use one of the ones that they have, like Mr. Doggy here. And I see Melissa's already got her custom one. Or I guess this is a gopher, or that's a bear.
I'm like, when did Melissa have time to do that today?
I don't know. You should get to work. So with that in mind, you could always play around with that. And that's something also interesting for your next presentation or any online things with your students. Definitely would be something fun to play around with. So UberDuck AI is my contribution for the school year. Play around with that. And you got the Zoom avatars to play around with as well. Any questions?
Yeah, we are open for questions. And if you don't have any, teachers, have a great summer. Find that time off, get away from the screens if at all possible. And we will see you next year as well too. But we'll be here all summer as well. And we'll be here all summer if you need anything.
Yeah, we have no life.